down to the tiniest of muscle movement on the faces of the people around him. These learned movements will ultimately form his native tongue. Man is the only species that has this second embryonic period in life. Amazingly, this period of life is not remembered by the child and thus called the unconscious absorbent mind. Mary will be explaining this period of development in more depth in the next lecture. During the latter years of this first plane, the child does become conscious of what they are learning. He is a sensory learner and is driven to take in all that is around him, especially activity with his hands. He uses his senses to absorb every aspect of his environment, language, and culture, in the process constructing his own intellect. Children also have, but only during this stage of life, the benefit of an absorbent mind that helps them absorb impressions from the environment. These impressions help construct their mind and intellect and enable them to adapt to their time and place in history. Throughout this first plane, the child will also experience periods during which they have heightened interest in certain aspects of life. Montessori named these periods of interest sensitive periods. She referred to these periods as windows of opportunity, during which the child's intense interest and the spontaneous activity the interest generated enabled children to learn the corresponding knowledge and skill with ease and enjoyment. The sensitive period for language is one example that is easily understood. You just heard that all the tiny muscles needed to acquire their native tongue were formed unconsciously. However, because the child had this special gift of a sensitive period for language, they are able to learn any number of languages they are exposed to. Many years ago, I had a 3-year-old boy who spoke 5 languages. His mother was Italian, his father was Spanish, his nanny was German, he spoke English at school and was also learning French at school. When these sensitive periods are recognized as guides, we can help a child by choosing at an optimum time a lesson or activity that helps support their development physically, socially, and emotionally. Another important task for children in this first plane is to be able to distinguish the difference between what is real and what is not. As Montessori educators, we present children with true information about real things using exact language. Should circumstances prevent this natural development from happening, and the child progresses in a disorganized way, their development becomes much the same. Their mind wanders from reality, their body moves awkwardly. They find nothing to satisfy their needs, which results in deviated behaviors. Deviations are not necessarily the true personality, but just the result of a system that is failing to organize the personality of the child. This can be corrected by changing the environment and providing constructive activity. As deviated behaviors begin to disappear, the child has the opportunity to develop normally, and the true personality of the child will begin to emerge. Montessori uses the term normalization to describe this process of transition from deviated to normal development. To recap, a child from birth to 6 learns through his senses. Using their senses, they gain first impressions and understandings of the world. These impressions and understandings become woven into the fabric of their minds. This principle was noted by Aristotle, who summarized by saying, "There is nothing in the mind that is not first in the senses." As a child approaches the end of their first plane, their physical characteristics begin to change. This is the time they begin to lose their first little baby teeth. Their hair becomes coarser, their bodies leaner, and their head balances out with their body. They have increased physical stamina and tend to overlook an injury and move on more easily. The second plane child loses the sense of order and cleanliness outside of their mind as they become absorbed in learning things internally. Their classroom reflects this. It often looks different to that of a first plane child, as the second plane child will forget or not even put an activity away. A lower elementary classroom is sometimes referred to as organized chaos. The second plane child has a questioning mind and will constantly ask the who, what, where, when, why questions. They are driven by their imaginations and become excited about big problems to work through and seek out group work that is both meaningful and exciting. The second plane child is now seeking a sense of justice in all social situations and is encouraged to use their judgment for justice. They are quick to point out something that they feel is unjust. This child has an emerging sense of responsibility and can understand the results of their actions. With this comes the development of empathy. Imagination and reasoning are closely linked during this plane of development. The child does not require solid sensorial impressions to understand a concept, as they are more able to abstract and imagine the explanation. By asking the reason for things, they continue to develop their intellect. The child has had, up to this point in their life, the security of their family unit. As the child moves into this third plane of adolescence, their experiences are similar to those of the first plane, because this is also a period of life of transformation, not the creation of a new being, but the creation of the adult. Looking at the triangle chart, it becomes more clear why these two planes are both red. This adolescent child now leaves behind their childhood as their bodies transition through puberty. Emotionally, this third plane adolescent also grows beyond the safety of their family unit and becomes a person who has to live in society. Montessori said, "This is the time when the social man is created but has not yet reached full development. This is the time, the sensitive period, where there should develop the most noble characteristics that would prepare a man to be social. That is to say, a sense of justice and a sense of personal dignity." This plane is a delicate and difficult period for the adolescent because their bodies are going through such a rapid transformation. They have huge emotions that are hard to control, and learning becomes more challenging. Some cultures recognize this period and respect these emotions by providing an opportunity for the adolescent to find purpose in their life. They ask them to work hard physically and contribute to life by farming the land and tending to other living creatures. By providing productive work experiences that contribute to economic independence, the adolescent can build self-confidence and faith in himself. This is perhaps the plane that some of you are currently in. You are here today thinking about the next stage of your life. It is a period of time when individuals continue their post-secondary educational studies. Through this period, the individual continues growing spiritually, has firm beliefs, and works towards a goal in life. They are responsible and have a moral conscience. Montessori believed that these individuals would work while studying for the sake of economic independence and a sound moral equilibrium. So now we understand the importance of recognizing the 4 planes. I would like to discuss the relevance of human tendencies and how, when these 2 are recognized, how they support in the development of a child. So now we understand the importance of recognizing the 4 planes of development. I would like to discuss the relevance of human tendencies and how, when these 2 are recognized, how they support in the development of a child. Dr. Montessori realized that throughout the world, and regardless of every culture, each child had within them the basic characteristics that supported them in their development. She called these characteristics human tendencies. They are the driving force behind man's spiritual and intellectual growth, urging the individual towards progress and a sense of fulfillment. These tendencies function on every level of development and are unchanging and hereditary. They guide us from conception right through to maturity and allow an